If you're financially struggling and want to change that in the next 6 months, I'm always going to recommend that you become a server and then learn the skills to get into a much better restaurant. But I'm going to teach you the speed run of what you can do in literally the first 180 days to actually be at about a $50 hour. I can get you to $30 an hour in the first weeks because that's just relatively easy. The first thing you need to do is invest in your looks. You need to get your hair cut, groom yourself. If you're a girl, make sure you get your nails done. As a guy, make sure that your nails are clipped and clean. Make sure you look good. I understand I look crazy. I will get this fixed tomorrow. So I guess do as I say, not as I'm doing. But anyway, I already have the experience. So first thing we're going to do is find you a serving job. You need to be applying to everywhere, literally. So TGI Fridays, Olive Garden, Chili, Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory will be a little bit more difficult to get into because they actually have a little server training, but just apply everywhere as a server you're trying to get in. Now, some of these jobs, they're looking for the job that's going to hire you on the spot. Those are usually the worst serving jobs ever, but if you can survive there, you can survive anywhere and you will make decent money while you're there. So you'll start off with these serving jobs making $20 an hour as an order taker. It's not hard to make 20. Think about it. If you serve 4 tables an hour and they all tip you $5, you make $20 an hour. Plus your little $2, you'll be at $23 an hour. So anyway, it's not hard to get there. All right, so you're going to apply, find that job, and then you're going to give them open availability. But mostly you're really just aiming to get that Friday, Saturday, Sunday shift, and with an optional 4th day. So I would be looking to do Thursday. Now you're going to be looking to find another job, a fine dining job. Now this job you're going to be applying as or a host food runner or a busser. Let's just use Steak 48 for this argument, but you can do Del Frisco's, any fine dining restaurant. But Steak 48. So you're going to apply, you get your job at Steak 48, you're a host there. Perfect. So you're a host there and you work at Chili's as a server. That's where you get hired at. Perfect. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Chili's that's where you're working at Chili's. You're going to be available there. Now, to maximize the amount of money, because Chili's is going to be what pays your bills, if you have any, you need to be asking to work as many doubles as possible. What you're going to do is you're going to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, let's just say night shift, and you're going to ask every server in the morning. Wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, text every server that's on shift. Hey, if you don't want to work today, I could pick up your morning shift if you want the day off. You text that to everybody. Usually you will be able to get at least 1, maybe 2 doubles a week, which will give you the 5 shifts you need in 3 days. It will be extremely tiring, but right now we're trying to maximize that money, that earning. This, even without doing this, you should be able to easily make about $550 a week serving, just without doubles. Any double that you do, add another $150 for every double you do. So let's just say you do $550, you do that 4 weeks, that'll be $2,200 a month. This is take home. And let's just assume you do 2 doubles a month that you're able to do. This will add another $300. So we were at, why did I just lose that? $2,200. Now you're at $2,500. And then let's say you're at your fine dining job where you get paid about $20 an hour. You work an 8-hour shift and you do that 2 days a week. And you times that by the fact that you're doing that 4 days a month, that's 8. So what's that? We were at 20 times that, 150 times 8 is $600, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm way off. It's $1,200. Jesus Christ. $1,200 minus taxes will be about $800. So $800 plus the 25, you're at $3,300 a month. All right. Now, the next thing you need to do after you do this will take you about a month to get everything together. While you're there, Bertha, you need to learn the menu for both jobs. Focus on really learning the menu for your fine dining job. You just need to know the menu enough at Chili's to be able to sell the food there. So just be able to basically recommend a decently expensive appetizer, like the triple dipper. You want to be able to know a freaking entree to sell that is also decently expensive, and then have something else that you could sell to people that have allergies and things like can't eat or don't want to eat something. So have a substitute. Texas Roadhouse, by the way, is another good restaurant to apply to. You want to have a drink that you can also offer. So you want to have an alcoholic and a non-alcoholic drink that you can offer at the restaurant to get the checks as high as possible. And you want to learn steps of service, and you want to learn how to navigate your section so that way you are rarely in the weeds. Being in the weeds just means that you are behind on everything. It's so much going on in the restaurant that you are struggling to keep up. So you want to avoid doing that by making sure you're managing your table. So what you want to do is full hands in, full hands out. If somebody needs a drink, check on your other tables to see if everybody needs a drink, so you can go in the kitchen and get all the drinks for all of your tables at one time instead of just getting one drink running back. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be one way in with all the plates and stuff, cleaning your tables off, and then one way back with all of the refills, ketchups, mustards, sodas, juices, bar drinks all at once. That'll keep you out the weeds. There's more to it than that. Follow my channel. There's a bunch of stuff on here. By the way, if this information is helping you, drop me a follow on here. This is my first YouTube video. Obviously, it's not very polished and it's not very much edited, but I just want to get this information out here. I don't really care how it looks. The fine dining place, which you're going to be learning, and you're going to have learned this on your off time mostly, is wine basic and the food and the restaurant layout. And then also you need to learn fine dining steps of service, and you need to learn how to use verbiage, that's professional verbiage, to how to get your guests out of there professionally. You don't want to make your guests feel rushed. So example would be like when you're dropping off the check, is there anything else I can help you with? If they say no, all right, here's the check. You can handle this at your earliest convenience, no rush. If you need anything, I'm right around, whatever. Get the point. That's how you would do that. Where at Chili's, you could just be like, oh, here's a check, you could pay whenever you're ready, just because it's more fast paced, you're trying to get whatever. But that's the difference between the two. Anyway, that's all of month 1. Month 2, it's time for you to trim the fat. You're gonna have to budget. You're gonna have to set up a budget, and it's time for you to get rid of save as much money as possible, and get rid of as much debt as possible. Now, this is not gonna happen in a 1-month thing, but this is the month that you're gonna focus on learning all these skills, so that way you can extend it for however long it's gonna take you. The more debt you have, the longer it's gonna take. Anyway, the first thing you wanna do is budget. See how much you're gonna make this month. We already did it at $3,300, but see how much you actually genuinely made last month, and then apply that for this month. Now you're gonna cancel as many subscriptions as possible. Understand you gotta keep some, maybe keep a Netflix, maybe keep a Apple Music, maybe keep a YouTube Premium, whatever, but don't have more than a certain amount of subscription. Maybe at max, try to keep your subscriptions under $50 a month. Stop eating out, stop calling Ubers, stay in the house. If you're gonna do drink nights and all that stuff, just drink in the house. Buy alcohol to drink with your friends in the house, maybe cut it out completely. Anyway, just do whatever you gotta do to lower your expenses as much as possible, and you're going to save 3 months of expenses. So if your expenses are $1,000 a month, you need to save $3,000. If it's $1,500 a month, you need to save $4,500. What you're going to do to speed that up is pick up as many doubles as possible, pick up shifts on your off days as possible, your serving shifts. This is all going to be all serving. It'll speed this up. If you have a car, maybe you could drive for Uber Eats and DoorDash on the side, especially on the days where you're off. And if you only work a single, maybe go drive for 4 hours to pick up some extra income. And if you're on a day off, go drive the full 12 hours and stack up as much money as possible to get this savings goal out the way. After you save up 3 months, then you're going to go into the snowball method. Snowball method basically means if you have 4 debts, you're going to tackle the smallest one as soon as possible and then snowball that money into it. So let's just say you can afford to pay $700 a month in debts, and you have a $1,000 debt, a $2,000 debt, and a $3,000 debt. You're going to put $700 on the $1,000 debt. The next month, you're going to put $300 on the $1,000 debt. It'll be gone completely, and you put the extra $400 on the $2,000 debt. The next month, you put the $700 on the $2,000 debt. It'll bring it down to $1,100, and you keep going until that whole $700 clears off all of the debt you have. I don't know how long that's going to take you. If you pick up a bunch of extra days, you will have a lot of income to throw at these debts. I'm talking thousands of dollars every month. You will be very exhausted, but you should be able to get this done out the way very quickly. Then you're going to extend your savings to a 6 to 12 month, whatever. That's comfort level. My comfort level, I need a full year. But if you are fine with 6 months of emergency savings, that's perfectly fine. How I basically like to say is if you always have a full-time job, no matter what, you don't have any qualms working a job that's less than, then do that. Then you can, 6 months will get you fine because you'll have a 6 months, but you're still making income. While you're saving that up, it's time for you to start learning about Roth IRAs and ETFs and then brokerage accounts. I use Fidelity personally. It doesn't matter what you want to use. Also, park that savings in a high yield savings account. So that way it can collect some interest while you're doing it. And now it's time for you to open up a Roth IRA, open it up with whatever you want, or a traditional IRA. Look up both of them on YouTube, see which one works better for you. I use a Roth IRA. Next, you're going to look up ETFs. I use VOO, but there are plenty that you can use. You want to look for one that follows the S&P 500, which grows on average about 10% a year. I'm not getting into this too much because this isn't what the bulk of the video is about, but you do need to set yourself up for financial success with the money that you're going to earn. You're going to invest. Max out your IRA, which is $600, and then I would advise you to invest another, after the IRA is maxed out, and invest another 10% of your income into a regular brokerage to build up an investment savings account, which you can use to later buy a house or an investment property, start your business, whatever you want to do later on down the line. This is for years down, but this is setting yourself up from the beginning to be able to win in the end. So, learn about the IRAs, learn about an IRA, learn about ETFs, start investing, max out your Roth IRA immediately, and then after that, invest another 10% in the brokerage. So if you make $3,000 a month, you max that out at $600, you make $2,400. Now you need to be investing another $240 into a regular brokerage account every month. That's going to also follow the whatever, and you gain 10% a year on average. Some years you're going to gain 20, some years you're going to lose 8. Do not panic sell. It has nothing to do with that. You sell when you hit a goal that you have in mind. During that time, you're going to be focusing more on learning that menu. When I say learn the menu, when you sell a dish, you should be selling the flavor of the dish. You gotta remember how expensive these steaks and stuff are. You're at Steak 48, you should have to sell our porterhouse. I don't know if they sell a porterhouse there. I'm just saying a porterhouse is what is that? A porterhouse is a T-bone steak. So it's a filet and a ribeye, I believe. You need to know that. You need to know what it's seasoned with, how it's cooked, and then you need to know the sides. So you don't want to just say, oh, it has potatoes. I understand that at this restaurant, these sides will be a la carte. Pick some sides that you like, whether it be the mac and cheese, whether it be the mashed potatoes, and they're made with authentic rustic potatoes that they mash. Also make it seem like it's not sold out of a box. Learn descriptive words to describe the food to sell it to the customer so they buy it. The reason you need to learn this is because you're going to go to the manager during this month sometime and let them know, hey, I'm looking to be trained as a server / bartender at this restaurant. I have been learning my wines, and you want to be able to sit, so you need to be able to have some time where you can sit down with us. So set a time where it's slow to talk to them, and then let them know what you've been working on. Let them know that you know the table numbers. Let them know that you can sell the food. Let them know whatever. You're a host, you're trying to move over to a food runner so you can really learn the food. Shouldn't be that hard to make that progress in the first 6 months. After that, the hard thing is letting them know that you want to be, like I said, a server and a bartender. That's what's going to take you a while. But once you get there, you will make $70 to $100 an hour as a server at a fine dining restaurant on the days where they're busy. Less, obviously, on days where they're not busy. But what you're going to do on your other job is it's time for you to actually leave that Chili's or Olive Garden or wherever you are. I'm not saying leave immediately. Start looking for another job. So look for that mid-tier, that Maggiano's. Any restaurant with $30 to $50. Literally go on Google, type affluent areas in, and then wherever you live at. So I would do affluent areas in Philadelphia. That would pull up either King of Prussia Mall or downtown Philadelphia. And then I would look for restaurants in that area. So I would be looking for restaurants downtown, and then I would apply to all of those between $30 and $50. Why? Because $30 to $50, usually those are always busy for dinner time. So I like those restaurants to work at as my main job, as my secondary. It'll be your main job right now, but it'll be your secondary job eventually when you get hired as a server for your main job. So now you are at Maggiano's, let's just say. Every customer at Maggiano's spend about $50 and $50. So that means if you have 10 two-tops, that's 20 guests. 20 guests spend $50 each. That'll net you $200 a night, which is really good. And that's on the weekdays. On the weekends, you'll probably be able to add another 50% to that, which will bring you up to $300 a shift, which is pretty good. And your hourly will be well over $40 to $50 an hour, which again is really good. And the more you learn how to upsell, you can bring those guests from $50 to $60, and that $50 to $60 makes you an extra $2, which would basically increase your income by 20%. So if you're making $200, you'll be now making $240. If you're making $300, you'll be at $360. Anyway, make sure you're learning those soft skills, learning how to communicate, learning how to not get frustrated. Guests are going to ask you questions that are going to you're not gonna understand that someone could be that stupid. I don't think they're stupid. It's just that people turn their brain off when they're in restaurants. Their tomatoes and the tomato soup is a genuine question that I was asked in the last month of serving. Is there chicken in the Asian chicken salad is literally a question I was asked in the last 3 months of serving. I'm not joking when I say people ask you crazy questions. And you need to not make them feel stupid. You can make maybe a soft joke about it, but for the most part, you just want to brush it off and answer their question as if, is there tomatoes in the tomato soup? Yes, we carry authentic tomatoes that we have in a tomato soup. And if they be like, oh, that's not what I meant or whatever, and make sure, because they may get offended, just be like, oh, no, I'm sorry, that I didn't understand. This is what I always try to take the blame in on yourself and then just refocus it on, because make them feel good so you can make the most money. Who cares about if they view you as being smart or not? At this point, too, you should be trying to get bar cross-trained at your serving job, because once you become a bartender, this job is something I wish I did. You will be able to be trained. It makes it easier to be a bartender could be a server or a bartender. A server can only be a server. So it opens up more possibilities at different jobs for you. Also, the whole thing of you being at this fine dining job and learning everything is, even if it doesn't work out here, you have a year of fine dining experience. And then at the end of this, you'll have a year of serving experience where you moved up. And then hopefully you'll have 6 months of bartending experience. If you don't have any qualms, you can lie and you can extend a year of serving into 3 years of serving, and you send 6 months of bartending into a year or two of bartending. Get the whole point? And then you use that to find you another job. And then you're like, hey, I also work at this fine dining restaurant right here. So all of that can help you find your next fine dining job. So none of this is a waste. You're learning experience to be able to move on to the next thing. If you follow this thing, you should be at month 3 at this point. Between month 3 and 6 is just you trying to maximize how much money you're making as a server and trying to get promoted into serving at your fine dining job. That could take anywhere from the month 6 to 1 year. But by the time it doesn't matter, because the job that you're making Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the money you're making at your mid-tier Maggiano's like job, you'll be making $40 an hour, possibly $50 an hour, depending on where you are. And if you can get into a fine dining casual restaurant, you can make much more. That's when not much more, but that's when you'll be making $50 to $60 an hour minimum. So that's where I am at currently at one of my jobs. And then I have a fine dining job, like I said, that I work on the weekends, which is wishy-washy right now because it's a little slow. If you like content like this, or you need help, or you want tips on how to get better, drop me a follow. Drop the questions in the comment section. I will answer as many questions or all questions as possible. I told you, there's no such thing as a stupid question when I'm with my guests. There's no such thing as a stupid question when you ask me. If you have a question, let me know. I can help maybe direct you to giving you more personalized answers based on your situation, if possible. So drop me a follow on here. Thank you for watching this, and share this with anybody that you think this video could help out.